Hello there. Oh, welcome to another talk. And this one is called "Don't Worry, Be Happy." Title of a song. And I guess the inspiration for this talk came from this journey that I've been on for 10 years now. And it started off as an unexpected spiritual awakening, blah blah blah. One thing leads to another. It was at the age of 24. I'm 34 now, getting old. But before the awakening, I was the complete opposite of what I am now. I mean, I was a compulsive liar. I did have very low self-image. Someone told my mum recently, I'm my mum's registered carer, but someone said to her, "Oh, Sean's got low self-image." Well, no, not anymore. That individual is talking about me from more than 10 years ago, or even 10 years ago. But the spiritual awakening is a bit like someone going into imagine a young lad having nothing and he goes into the army. But I did go into the army. I went into the biggest army of them all, which is the awakening. But before the awakening, like I say, I was a compulsive liar, depression, suicidal, drugs, alcohol, crazy anxiety, panic attacks even. And that was the old self, the younger me. And the awakening came at 24 because I had enough. And I didn't know what a spiritual awakening was. My mum's side are travellers, gypsies, Romany gypsies, and they are into psychic and mediumship and stuff like that. I don't hear spirits, or even with the awakening, I didn't gain that abilities. I don't hear spirits talking. I don't even hear voices. What happens is I get information downloads from my higher self, which I turn into thoughts. It's like a frequency. It's like all of a sudden you'll feel something, and then so I turn it into thoughts. That's why I have a saying that I've had for years, and it is, "My heart's ear feels my soul's whispers." You see? My heart's ear feels my soul's whispers. But how this relates to, "Don't worry, be happy," this talk, is because that's what it led to. But there was a lot of healing that had to take place. I stopped being a compulsive liar. The awakening was just showing me, be gentle on yourself. I was the type that would really get depressed because I'd be very, very hard on myself. I never felt good about myself. I probably did look a lot better when I was younger, but I didn't feel good at all. If I was walking down the street or with a friend and I didn't feel women were smiling at me or something, I would start getting depressed. I had to be like the center of attention. I couldn't. That's why I think I understand narcissism, and I understand what makes them tick, because all I'm doing is I'm tapping into the old self. I'm tapping into the old insecurities, and it's very healing for me when I'm talking about that, because I can go back to those elements, and those elements are still there. I'm not perfect in any way, shape, or form. I'm not better than anyone, but I am doing what most won't do, and that's go within myself. And the healing, I haven't had proper depression since I was 28. I've had stress, I've, like, especially lately, I mean, mothers making their kids wear masks and stuff. I mean, I think I wouldn't be human if I didn't react to that. But depression went away at the age of 28, and I'm 34 now, so wild. The pen, the I don't know if you believe in this, but I was just joking around with the pendulum last week, I think it was, and asking when I would die, and I thought it was going to say like when I'm an old man, but it said 41, and I got my mum to do it the other day, and it said 42. Didn't say 41, then I said try 42, ask it, and it said no, he won't live, he won't be alive then. So, but how do I feel about that? Well, like the title of this talk, don't worry, be happy. You know, because I've got a website and I've had it for years, and I'm working all the time. I'm my mum's registered carer. If that's the case, and you know, I'm not planning on dying, but anytime soon. But you don't know how these things can happen. You know, so ever since that happened, I think my mother was quite surprised that I'm not bothered by it. Because when you spiritually awaken, one of the things that happens is you don't fear death anymore. You know, you don't fear death because you're interacting with that powers. Like I say, I'm not a medium. I don't hear spirits or ghosts talking. I don't see them. I don't hear them. But because of the awakening, it's like opens up a shell. And now you understand that you're eternal, you're infinite. And that is the true self. Like David Icke says that, excuse me, we are all different points of attention within the same infinite consciousness. And that's why, you know, people that say I am a this, I got that from David Icke. David Icke's a great teacher. At the start of my spiritual awakening, I didn't know who David Icke was, and a family member said, you sound like David Icke. And it wasn't until a few years, I think maybe 6-7 years into the awakening, I started watching David Icke. And I continued because I thought, well, he's went through a similar path, same as Max Egan. That's another one that I listen to. Ralph Smart. You know, and those are people that went through awakening, but in different ways. You know, every awakening is different. But now, you know, ever since the awakening, it's been like a presence thing. You know, meditation. Never done meditation before. And all meditation is just presence. You know, present moment, presence. And so when you meditate, that's all you're doing. To meditate, if you don't know how to meditate, just sit quietly and inwardly ask presence to come through, or meditation, and you'll notice it's the same. They are the same. You see, because a lot of people don't know how to meditate, so I thought I would say that there. And so the awakening has healed a lot of issues. And I don't compulsively lie now. I don't take drugs now. I take supplements, as you've probably seen if you're on my website. You know, that's my vaccine. That's what I take, and I started taking that after I got a bad flu in 2020, early on in February. Bad flu. And after that, I started to take supplements. I thought, this is not going to happen. I have had colds in that since, but nothing like that was a really bad one. That lasted for about over a month, that one. You know, some flus are really bad. And yeah, after that, I just thought, you know, it's not going to protect you fully, but it's, you know, that's what I believe in. But that complementary medicine, doesn't matter what it is, like this frequency music I've got on, you know, they work with you, but if you're not doing the inner work, it's the inner work that's the power. And that's why I said earlier, you know, about the pendulum saying die at 41 or 42. It doesn't bother me because the awakening, in the awakening, it's like a shell's being cracked open, and you understand now. Because you're interacting with a power. That's the crown chakra, you know, it's awakening ignites the chakras, and then they start aligning, you see. And so all this healing, it gets you to a place where you're more present. You see, a lot of people think that the energies are out there, externalize everything, but the energies are active. The real stimulation is within presence. You know, people talk about Kundalini and energy orgasms and stuff, and all that energies are within the present moment. That's the Kundalini force. You can actually embody it. You don't have to actually just have a Kundalini awakening. You know, people that say, oh, there's just a Kundalini awakening, no, you can embody it. But to embody it, you've got to embody source. And to do that, you've got to do a lot of healing. That society is programmed and orchestrated so that we're unhappy, so that we don't access these things. You know, and once you wake up eternally because you've returned to source now. It was just a dream. You see, you were just having a little sleep, a little dream, and when you awaken, you're awakening to the true I. So it's a blissful journey. And you had the experience, the dream for the dream and the experience. But in this, you become more present and more present, and the more present you become, the more happy you become. But it's true, a lot of people think that there's more energies out there. You see, I took, when I was younger, crazy drugs. I was just closing the door there. Keep the heat in. No, but when I was younger, I took all different types of drugs, but the energies from this, I mean, the first awakening, that was more powerful than any drug I ever took. And I took MDMA when I was younger. And this was like MDMA, but imagine something like more intense, you know, more powerful. And that's because it was source I was tapping into. That's why they ban things like MDMA, because they don't want people having no signs of what source is. So they ban any drugs that can remind you of that. If they wanted to, they could make MDMA up properly and do, you know, trials, and they could make it healthy. But they don't want to do that because they don't want you being reminded of what oneness is. I took that the first time I was 17, and it was the first time I think I experienced true divine love. Didn't understand what I was experiencing at the time, but everything was like, you know, you were just in love and peaceful with everything. And that is very similar to this journey. So then as you're on the awakening more and more and more, you become more present, more ecstasy. And it's letting go. Like I was watching Ralph Smart today, and he said, you know, letting go of everything attracts everything. You see? Like a few years ago, I watched this Buddhist. He was from Australia, but he was a Buddhist, and he said people try to get Kundalini energies, and he said, but the energies awaken themselves after a long path of healing and ascension. You see? Because you have to prove yourself to your higher self. Your higher self is your Lord. If you follow me on Instagram, I've got some songs I'm singing about Lord, you know, church songs. I'm singing to my higher self, not Jesus Christ. Because that's no use. Jesus Christ was Jesus Christ because he went within himself. So that's really what Christ consciousness is. It's the power within you that is the true God. But people bow and they want a person to save them, but it's within you that is your Saviour. As Jesus Christ once said, and I'll leave it on this note, the kingdom of God is within you. And I'm just going to leave it there. For latest updates, talks, news, research, and much, much more, please do visit my website at www.lovelightfamily.com. Thank you.